Hi, my name is Jordan. I spent 8 years as an active addict, and now here I am, 9 years later, with 9 years of sobriety under my belt.
My name is Glenn, and I am currently the AIDS Committee Hep C Outreach Coordinator at the AIDS Committee in North Bay area. Um, I got into this position as I started working as a lived experience peer here and graduated through numerous positions to obtain a full-time permanent position. I struggle with drug addiction and uh, prolonged use of drugs for decades. And when I decided to change, it took over a decade and a half for the change to happen for me to be where I am today.
So ultimately, less stigma creates a more habitable environment for an addict to be able to feel comfortable and trust the people around them. And it really creates a block in the pathway for an addict to be able to receive adequate and proper treatment for their addiction.
And one thing you have to keep in mind is that people are coming in with a lot of shame and guilt. And a lot of this, is driven by trauma in their background at some point in their life. It's very important that you not re-traumatize them or open up any new wounds by any actions you might say or do or body language. They're already hypersensitive to anything you may say or do, because I know from my own experience, anytime I dealt with healthcare professionals, I was always on guard.
So, because of the fear that addicts have regarding the way that medical professionals will treat them or see them, it makes accessing proper health care very difficult. For myself, for example, I had a really difficult upbringing. There was a lot of abuse in my teenage years. There was homelessness in my teenage years. My family broke up. So ultimately, I had to find a way to cope. And that way of coping, I just happened to stumble upon something that was able to do that for me. That addiction isn't a choice. It comes out of a place of necessity. It comes out of a place of coping. For an addict, it really blocks the pathways to sobriety. It ends up creating an internal self-hate that is indescribable and tends to last long after recovery has begun. And on top of that, it really breaks the trust between addict or patient and medical provider, be it a doctor, a nurse, or a pharmacist.
I think, the largest impacted the stigma and being labeled myself, the ways it affected me was the trust issues. I had no trust whatsoever for medical professionals because I felt like that trust had been broken many times.
The advice that I have for nurses and other healthcare providers is to remember the power of their words. When we use terms like dirty versus clean, and we use those terms over and over and over again, a person begins to see themselves as that. They begin to believe that they themselves are in fact dirty and that they don't have self-worth. It's super important that you choose to see the person that is underneath the addiction and not the addiction as the person themselves.
I think, when you look at someone with addiction, you need to realize that you're seeing the addiction. It's a poor representation of who the person really is. They're someone's family member, parent, son, sibling, whatever the situation may be. And the most important thing that really should come out of this whole visit is that they go away feeling good about it.
The thing that I want to impart the most on anybody watching these videos is to understand how stigma really kills an addict's hope and really their belief that they could ever achieve a sober lifestyle or even begin on a path towards sobriety. I think that a lot of people don't understand that not everyone is at the same place in life as they are, but that doesn't make them less valuable. Everyone has potential. We can all get better, but we need your help to do it.
It's very easy to be discouraged when dealing with people with problematic drug use, that has led to an addiction. But, there are some of us out here that were prime examples of who those people really are. And I'm one of them. When I went through the treatment 11 years ago, she looked at me as a person. and gave me respect when she talked to me, and she looked me in the eye and did all those things that, you know, people sort of expect out of someone else when they're being treated nicely.
So you have a choice. What kind of nurse are you going to be? Are you going to hold on to your preconceived notions, or are you going to choose to grow and learn and be able to become the kind of nurse that saves a life just like mine?